Hi, welcome to the 1 Liter Podcast. You will watch us drinking 1 liters of beer whilst talking about shies. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to the 1 Liter.
Yes.
Every time.
Hello. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the 17th of June, 2022. I'm here with my my name is Joel Kummerfoot, and I'm here with my dear friend, Philip Geet. And so he, Philip, I'm just going to say, Phil, you're a great producer. Obviously, you made this wonderful intro that everyone loves. I like to call Phil the composer because he is.
It's the composer. Yes.
Now, Phil.
I do love that title.
Do you like it?
Yeah, absolutely. The
All right.
composer.
The composer. That's gangster. That can be.
Yeah.
It's villainous. It's
Very Hans Zimmer, you know.
Yeah, it's a composer. So Phil, how are your push-ups going, my friend? Would you like to refresh everyone's memory?
There is a lot of push-ups going on. Yeah. I mean, if you do want to donate, if by the time you're listening to this, it's probably the last day of donating is the 24th, which means that I will have, by the time you listen to this, I will have hopefully completed my last day of a lot of push-ups and be at 3,139 push-ups in 24 days.
Jesus. So you were doing some push-ups earlier. You did 20 or 30?
25 in one go.
Out of 140, was it necessary? Or
140 today, so I've still got a few to go.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say though, I work with this dude. He's very fit. I've told you about him. He's a guy I work with. He looks like he's 27 and he grows like a goatee and a mustache just to look a bit older. He's quite short, so a fair bit shorter than me. And he is very, very fit and lean. And he's 42 and he looks like he's 27.
Does he move like a 27-year-old?
Yeah. And he's got a 3-year-old, I think, a 4-year-old. So he started quite late for usual standards. But he is doing these push. He's the one that convinced me. I saw them. It was advertised to me on Instagram. And I was like, that is too many push-ups. And then he found it and he was like, hey, man, do you want to do this push-up challenge? And I heard that he was like the push-up king and the chin-up king. Like he can do 40 to 50 chin-ups in one go under a minute.
That's
or something.
hardcore. That's old school style.
Yeah. So, and I was speaking to him the other day. I had one day where the day before I tried to do some explosive push-ups. So like when you push up really quickly, and I think I may have overdone it for my ligaments and I was quite sore the next day in the shoulder and the middle of the pec, struggling a little bit. And I was speaking to this guy and I'm like, yeah, look, I'm struggling a little bit. And he goes, yeah, it's weird. I'm like breezing through it. Oh, okay, bro. He's like, yeah. And this was on the day where we had to do 220 push-ups in the one day.
So he's in the same level as you. Like you're doing 201 days, doing the same? Or
we're doing the exact same app with the exact same
right,
breaks.
So he's not days ahead of you?
No.
Okay.
So he's... and I was like, oh, that's great. Cool. You're breezing through it. He's like, yeah, man, like this morning, this was like in the afternoon. He was like, yeah, I did mine this morning, the 220 day. He's like, I was going to just do like half, but then I could do like 50 to 60 in one set. So I just thought, oh, it's only about 4 sets and I'm done. I was like, dude.
He smashed 4 sets in the morning.
In the morning before going to work.
That's crazy good fitness.
4 sets of 60, 60, 50, 50 to get to 220.
Wow. So have you asked him, like, what's your secret? Like, obviously he's not just fit, but he has good, like, health, like he's eating healthy, right? So he doesn't physically look, so his skin looks good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his secret to the youthful look thing is genetics.
Oh, right, he's one of those guys, eh?
But he's obviously pretty healthy, very lean, and he's a fighter, some sort of martial art. So he's done that for years and years and years, and then just kept really fit. And apparently now his motivation is just being the superhero dad for his son, because his son looks at him, or when they go to the beach together, his son he's turned around and gone, Daddy, why do you look different to these people? And he's like, because I'm a superhero. And these people are normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like,
juggernaut
Yeah.
ripped.
I don't know. I've never seen him with his shirt off, but
But
you can see it.
He's got that BDE. He's got that big dick energy.
big dick energy, and he walks very upright, very good posture,
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love that he's a shorter dude as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he's doing
you're
it
a
for
shorter dude? Yeah.
Yeah. So do you reckon I'm about the same height as him, or is he a bit taller?
probably,
than him?
yeah, probably.
So like as a short dude's like obviously short dudes can put on mass better than big taller people, like as quicker. Like we do it.
In proportion to their overall look, because like
Yeah.
a very tall person gains 5 kilos, it doesn't widen him like it would a much shorter person gaining 5
Yeah.
kilos, because the proportion is, if you weigh 60 kilos and you gain 5, that's a decent percentage. If you weigh 100 and weigh 5 and gain 5, that's only 5%.
Yeah. So I love that he's a shorter dude. He's doing it for us, you know. He's
Representing.
he's representing the short boys, yeah. 5'8". I'm the
Oh,
I'm the
5'8",
same.
yeah.
I'm the same height as like Zac Efron and like Mark Wahlberg and
Oh,
yeah.
oh, Zac Efron. Everyone loves
They're
Zac
studs.
Efron.
Yeah, they're fucking studs. Man.
Everyone loves Zac.
Dude, do you remember Mark Wahlberg's fucking Calvin Klein?
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in the
of
90s.
course.
That black dude. That guy was like a
Was that after jail?
yeah. Oh, well,
Juvie, was it?
he went to-
He went
yeah.
to jail. He went to real jail, I think.
Yeah, when he was younger, when he was still Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You must be crazy thinking you can fuck with mine. You better believe. Yeah, dude. So Marky Mark had some, other than Good Vibrations that everyone knows. Good Vibrations.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
one
he's
hit
got-
wonder.
He's got some gangster songs. Like
Really?
some of his older. So he did a film called, I think it was Fear.
Mm.
And he's like, so there's this like very privileged girl and she's like got a great family and her dad's got a good job. And then she meets this like bad boy in a pub and he's Marky Mark's character, and turns out Marky Mark's like a bit of a psycho. So at first it's all very sweet. And then eventually he's like, you know, if a guy looked at her the wrong way, he'd like kill the guy, like beat
Oh.
the shit out of him. And she'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't think I know who you are. Who are you? You're so violent. And he's like, no, baby, I love you. Don't be like this. So like it reaches that he has a couple of run-ins with the old man. And then it reaches the point where Marky Mark is he's actually comes to the house and he's like, you know, it becomes a thriller basically.
Is this all a video clip or?
No. Oh, this is like a whole it's a movie.
Oh, right.
There's this funny scene where they're trying to board up the windows and like lock all the doors because Marky Mark and a bunch of friends come around at the end and they're like trying to get to the door. He's like, I'm going to get to your daughter, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing you can do about it. And this scene here is right at the end. Mark Wahlberg comes to the front door and the dad's looking through the peephole. And then Mark Wahlberg's like, has this little conversation here.
It all could have been different, Mr. Walker. You should have allowed nature to take its course. In the end, it will anyway. So let me in the fucking house!
Oh God. So
So
wait,
let me in the fucking house! That's
When
like a
did he
famous
start-
Mark Wahlberg scene. Dude, like...
so
well,
when did he
chill.
start acting?
Oh, you know what? Probably, I think
I
perhaps...
thought it must have been like way after when he was Funky Bunch and
So this
Marky
is
Mark and Good Vibrations.
true. Yeah.
I would have thought.
So this is Mark Wahlberg. This is 1996. And I can look at Mark Wahlberg's Wikipedia and I'm sure I can find his history, but let me in the fucking house. I love it. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's-
so it could have been different, Mr. Fuckhead, you know, and then out of fucking nowhere. So his discography went from 1995, 1996, and 1997. So obviously he was still rapping when he did that film. His filmography, oh come on, has no information. But
on what?
like his films, I could go on.
What are you
IMDb.
looking on though? Yeah, go on IMDb.
DB, sorry. I usually look on fucking Wikipedia because like
Wiki,
Wikipedia you can look
yeah.
at like their earlier life because as an actor I
Oh.
like seeing where they started. Like this guy only did this, and this, and then he got this. He got lucky. Most
So
of
that's
the time,
not
they get lucky.
on IMDb then, is it? Internet Movie Database. If it's
No, not
too
really.
little for them, they
Yeah.
can't show off with it.
All right, so if I'm scrolling through his IMDb, the first film he did was 1990. Oh, wait, no. So Yeah, look, I'm assuming he was still rapping while he made
Yeah,
those
probably.
earlier films. Yeah, let me in the fucking house. Like, and then, dude, there's a
Very
scene in that.
interesting.
There's a scene in that film where the dad comes up to Mark Wahlberg and he's like threatens him. He's like, "Look, stay away from my fucking daughter. I'll kill you." And then Mark Wahlberg does this thing. It's like famous, and there's been a lot of comedy parodies of it. Mark Wahlberg just like starts beating his chest with his right hand, and the dad's looking at him weird, and then like he starts to see it bruises.
Oh.
So he can beat himself. He's like staring and beating his chest like a fucking gorilla. So obviously you beat your chest long enough, it's going to be a bruise. You can go to the police and say, "This guy abused me. He beat the shit out of me."
yeah.
So press charges against him. He might go jail time, and then he has time with the daughter. So it's funny.
Huge.
It's like, you know, don't come near me. I'll fucking make it out like you beat me. You know, like what are they going to do?
Yeah, especially after that threatening line.
Oh yeah, but let me in the fucking house. That's at the end when Mark Wahlberg's like, I'm showing my true character now. He's just ready to roll.
Oh, and that's at the dad's house, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and, like,
right.
I think the daughter's like might be Reese Witherspoon,
Oh God,
Or
I've
like,
never seen this movie.
maybe not. It's a cute though. Like around the time like the kind of chick who Mark Wahlberg would go for. You know, she's just like a cute blonde or something. But
It's just standard ass.
Yeah. Nobody. This film was all for Mark Wahlberg for his progression. Like, fuck, we just hire some typical blonde off the street, you know. Like, never mind, this girl's done years of training and she's absolutely
Is that
brilliant.
Was that a Christopher Walken voice right there?
That was that was like a random
blonde off the
fucking. That was a random like New York fucking toopy, you like a mafia dude. But this is my Christopher Walken. Guys, I don't understand why you're doing this. Good night, moon. Good night, cow. Jumping over the moon. Little kitties, scooch closer. That's a Simpsons reference. Yeah. Dude, wait, let me tell you something.
All I hear there is needs a little more cowbell.
Need
know
some
that?
more cowbell.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. SNL, bro, for sure.
Of course.
Wait, so you never saw the first Dune, did you?
No, there's no Dune on
pirate
Dune.
that shit. Watch it tonight, dude. It'll blow your mind. You'll love it.
Blow my
But
mind.
in the second film that's coming out, well, I think they've casted for it, so they might be in pre-production now,
Mm.
or they might start filming next year. But the Emperor, the guy who's going to play the Emperor, he's like this like galactic, like crazy powerful dude.
Mm.
They've cast Christopher Walken, bro.
What?
Christopher Walken's going to be play this character so
He's
well.
going to be playing an emperor.
I want Arrakis. I want you know, the what do they call it? The spice. Give me the fucking spice.
What? What?
You Fremen, fuck off. Give me the spice.
My brain's hooked onto this this emperor. What was an emperor? How do you become an emperor? Is it just bloodline like kings and queens, or
Yeah, I think so.
really?
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to this: like, the earliest settlements of any tribe anywhere would have like learned how to harvest stuff really
Yeah,
well, right?
Yeah.
And then they start harvesting more and more, and then the whole town and the whole village or whatever tribe are like coming to this person because they're like the main source of this. Like, yeah, you know, they're harvesting fucking potatoes or like
All the
rice
food.
patties or whatever, right?
They're
So next minute-
basically Nesquik and
So-
taking a monopoly.
Exactly, Ovaltine.
Yeah.
So that person becomes the most popular person in town because he's giving everyone food, right?
Mm.
Sustainable food, not just the guys who go out and hunt for the flesh. This
Yeah.
guy's giving him a nice, easy meal. What happens? That guy gets more wealthy, and then more people start assisting him because his operation gets bigger,
Yep.
and he gets wealthier and wealthier and more popular. Next minute, what happens?
Emperor.
He's the fucking emperor. And then that dynasty lasts 200 years until someone usurps him, et cetera, et cetera. But that's basically how it fucking works, man.
It's so stupid. Like I agree with the belief that even a president is fucking stupid. Presidency is having
Yeah.
one person rule over the entire country.
Yeah.
Like that's stupid to me. So the bloodline thing is even more dinosaur and alien to me. Like you're
Mm-hmm. Do you know
really going to
it's-
put people in charge just because they were birthed from this person.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to turn out like.
And this is how
He hasn't seen any hardship.
where it got weird was when they fucking started to say, oh yeah, hey, by the way, when religion got involved, especially Christianity, because I don't know about the other dynasties, but
Yeah.
I know Christianity. We obviously didn't have emperors, but we had kings.
Yeah.
And it came down to fucking religion. Like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, God God blessed, this is a divine being. This is the a king, other priests will give other priests the right of being like the archbishop or whatever, but only God creates kings and queens, so it's all just like convoluted bullshit, right?
Oh, and it's so like deeply ingrained, like we are the bloodline of the gods,
Exactly.
Only the gods have put us here because we are so superior.
Yeah.
Like these people have zero idea of what a normal human peasant is living like.
A pleb, yeah.
Yeah, and we're here complaining that our prime minister is too detached from normal lifestyle, which he is.
ScoMo.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We got Albanese, baby.
Yeah, I know, but we were complaining about how
Yeah.
he was out of touch and didn't know the price of groceries and
Sure.
shit. So
For sure.
imagine back in the king and queen days.
Yeah.
That is some next level different shit.
Totally.
Like they had no idea.
Do you know what most of the time they did? Especially
What?
with like Roman emperors and stuff. A lot of the time they would just stay in their palace and never go anywhere and just always constantly be told every day that the people love you, sire, and that you're rich and you're constantly getting wealth, constantly getting tithes. And then maybe like every couple of months, once every like 3 or 4 months, you'd come out of your palace and address the population. It's the first time they've seen you in 3 or 4 months. So to them, they're like seeing a celebrity in our day and age. You're like, oh my God, it's you. I love you. So these people, all they've been told all their life is that they're just special and they live in this wealth and they can do whatever they want. Someone comes over with a scroll and says, my lord, we need to send 3 legions to Germania. There's been an uprising. Yes, do it. Do this, do that, Next minute they walk outside and there's a sea of people chanting them and they're just like, oh, the adulation, the glory, I am this perfect being. I'm a Roman emperor. Praise me, love me. And so they fucking go back in their palace and they live like that. However, these were the fucking delusional rulers, right? And then you had some good rulers. And these good rulers were obviously very connected with people, so they'd be like, all right, well, let's get logistic here. We need more aqueducts here. We need more legion presence here. We need roads, sewage, blah blah blah, everything in all these areas. So these were the emperors that were great and were remembered for like good deeds. But most of like Caligula, dude, do you know Caligula?
No.
So Caligula was this little fucking piece of shit rat, right? And he inherited the throne from Tiberius, who was another piece of shit emperor. These two are a part of what's known as like
And are they the same
bad
bloodline
emperors.
and generation to generation?
Yes.
Or what happened there?
So Tiberius, it was Augustus married a woman, and that woman had already had a son, Tiberius. And so when Augustus was poisoned and killed by, I can't remember her name, his wife, she like poisoned the figs.
Oh, God.
The figs, all he ate was figs,
Yeah.
Augustus, yeah. Augustus was the nephew of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, yeah.
Caesar.
So when and so she was obviously poisoned, the wife of Augustus, who was very spiteful, or poisoned Augustus, and then made her firstborn son emperor. And then so there was all these other issues, and I'm pretty sure Caligula was like a distant relative of one of them, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm pretty sure, and because he was a little kid and his father was like a general at some point, the Roman word or Latin word for little boots is Caligula. So they gave him the name Caligula because
Yeah.
he used to wear little boots or something like that. I think that's right. So anyways, Tiberius was a fucking like a hedonistic tyrant.
Yeah.
And when he was dying, he gave the position over to Caligula. And Caligula, like I mentioned earlier, was this delusional fucking kid.
I was about
Like,
to say.
He was probably like an early teen, maybe mid to late teens, and he was just fucking loose. And this is what he did do when he went into power. Like he at one stage he ordered I think it was either his praetorians or like a couple of like a legion or two to fight the sea. He literally sat on a horse and ordered these men to like run over and like fight the ocean, like punch the water with their swords. It was ridiculous. And he used to kill people and like go to weddings and like fuck the bride in front of the groom right then and there in front of everyone.
Oh my God.
Crazy hedonistic parties and
So
so much crazy shit. And then eventually So what happens is you've got normal legions and soldiers of Rome, and then you've got the Praetorian, and the Praetorian were the personal bodyguard of each emperor. And the Praetorians had a lot of sway as well. Like they made a lot of moves and did a lot of things, important things. And they were pretty much like, what the fuck is Caligula doing? He's a I don't want to say retard, that's a bad word, but he's a psycho, right? And so Caligula's cousin was like club-footed and he had a lisp. And so I think he maybe started off that in earlier life, but eventually he got better. But because he was a bit of a missing a couple of chromosome, he basically was able to avoid the limelight and just do his studies. So he was very intelligent, very wise, he was in the loop with the people of Rome, right?
Right.
He was in the fucking loop. He knew Rome, right? He wasn't just a crazy fucking idiot like Caligula running around. And Caligula used to taunt him and treat him like shit. So at one point, the Praetorian guards were like, we need to get rid of Caligula. He's a fucking idiot. So what did they do? They knew that if there was no Roman emperor, the Senate would rise up and make a republic. So there would be no emperor ruling. There'd be a Senate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like us now. Like
Yeah.
we have. Yeah.
Like they would progress.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that fucking dynasty kind of bullshit.
They would evolve
Exactly.
past him.
So
Did
what
not
they
like.
But the Praetorian Guard, being very powerful, very wealthy, being the main guard of the emperor, you've got all these luxuries as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
So the Praetorian Guard were like, we don't want to lose this position of like glory. Like we're the fucking Praetorians.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They killed Caligula, sliced that motherfucker up, stabbed him to shit, and then ran over to Claudius and said, he's the new emperor now. Claudius is the new emperor. So this Claudius.
Why did they like Claudius?
Because obviously he was smart and he wasn't a fucking he wasn't a hedonistic psycho. Like he wasn't like a
Oh,
hedonist.
so they
right?
did a good deed.
So Claudius was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want to be there. But turned out Claudius was a great emperor, and he served, like a lot of the emperors only served for like 10 to 15 years and then they were excommunicated. Like, and then you've got the good emperors that served for like 40 years or 50 years because obviously they didn't have as long a lifespans as us. But some of these guys lived to like 70, 80, 90. So like,
Yeah.
But Claudius,
Especially those high class, the best looked after human being in the country, that sort of shit.
yeah. But hey, Claudius turned out to be one of the great emperors. So there you go.
So I need to ask now, how the fuck do you know this whole history story?
So I love history.
Yeah.
I learn a lot about different times in history, obviously war related as well. But the main histories that I love is like World War I and II, Roman and Greek history, of course. I'm still getting in touch with Genghis Khan and his lineage, as well as like Spartan and like Athenian Greek history.
Yeah. Genghis Khan is a wild story, isn't it?
Genghis Khan is so underrated compared to like rulers. Like, dude, Genghis Khan accomplished so much.
He's
like,
also very underrated for his slaughterings.
Yeah, dude.
He's
He makes Napoleon. He makes all these people look like shit, dude. Like, he accomplished so much. And dude,
whilst wiping out 10% of the population of the planet.
yeah, and a funny thing is 5% of the human population are related to him. He just fucked, dude. He fucked like a rabbit, bro. So
God.
you can watch it on YouTube. Type in like Genghis Khan descendants or whatever, and you can look it up. And this like random fucking like a waiter in fucking China or somewhere's like, oh yeah, I'm actually related to Genghis Khan. He
Tracing the
fucking
bloodline.
raped one of my ancestors or something. Yeah,
exactly.
But,
that's the scary part. It's all just
and like
we all just stem from rape,
yeah, pretty much, right?
brutality.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like nobody can say, oh, I would have done if I was back in the 1600s or 300 BC or whatever. Like I would have done better. It's like no, like we had to evolve, and like we had to.
We
go
didn't
through this,
have the understanding we have today.
Yeah, we had to go through all this barbarism and tyranny and delusion to get to where we are. So like I don't hate or despise our ancestors. Obviously, if we're talking about fucking some bad people,
Yeah.
Fuck them. But like when I'm, it's just
It was the time, man. It was
a fucking
how
time.
you had to live. Like imagine, like I find it wild just the story of where germs were discovered before you had microscopic tools.
Yeah.
Germs being discovered by just a guess of one of the, like someone in a hospital, women's hospital, and the mothers were dying, giving birth and stuff. And so he was like, no, it's because
We're not
you're
washing our
also
hands.
doing surgery on these sick patients and it's transferring over. I can't remember what, there was a specific disease that was going around at the time and it was transferring to the women's blood while they were giving birth and they would die during birth because of this. So this guy claimed that you need to wash your hands in between going from this surgery where you're getting someone else's blood all over you to going and delivering a baby. And he was obviously, just like everyone, he was called crazy and told, no way, we're doing that. And he got them to agree to do one hospital wing. I think it was a wing. And I think it was he got one half of the hospital to wash their hands and one half didn't. And immediately, the half that were washing their hands, the women stopped dying.
There you go.
That's how they discovered germs.
Wow.
And then we're talking about like way more than that. Like imagine before money existed.
Yeah.
The object of money where you just traded your goods for
and
something
wares,
else.
Yeah. Dude, do you know
You
back
figured
in,
out how to raise chickens and make them lay heaps of eggs. People wanted eggs.
Exactly.
What did you need? I needed cotton
Yeah.
to make clothes.
I'm pretty sure at some point in time in the Middle Ages, medieval times, they thought rubbing dog shit on a wound would heal you.
Probably.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's a
They
thing,
did?
for real, dude. I got something I want to play
Absolute
for you.
clowns. From like their farm dogs, like domesticated dogs.
Century?
Yeah.
No such thing. Take germs, for example.
Germs.
Uh-huh. In the 18th century, no such thing. Not
Only in the
nothing. No one ever
18th
imagined
century.
such a thing. No sane person anyway. Along comes this doctor. Semmelweis.
Dr. Semmelweis?
Semmelweis comes along. He's trying to convince people, well, other doctors mainly, that there are these teeny tiny invisible bad things called germs that get into your body and make you sick. Huh?
Sounds crazy.
He's trying to get doctors to wash their hands. What is this guy? Crazy? Huh? Teeny tiny invisible, what do you call them? Germs? Huh? What? Now, cut to the 20th century. Huh? Last week, as a matter of fact, right before I got dragged into this hellhole.
What's this from?
To order a burger.
12 Monkeys. You ever seen it?
No. So what does he compare it to in this century?
Oh, I can't remember where
Yeah.
it went from there, but
But
that
that's
film
the
there,
story.
That's Bruce Willis.
Oh.
So there was a biological weapon that wipes everyone out, and there's these people living underground, and these scientists somehow discover how to go back in time, and they send Bruce Willis back in time, as well as other agents, to try and stop whoever this person is that created this post-apoc. Like when they go onto the surface, they need like rad suits, and there's all these like mutated creatures. It's just
Goodness.
like it's like that game Metro.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a zombie movie basically, but
Exactly. So they send Bruce Willis back in time a couple of times. It kind of fries your brain a bit. And Bruce Willis, he's been sent back in like World War One, like they kept fucking up the times. So there's like at some point in time, this chick in the movie's like looking through a book and she finds a picture of like guys in a trench in World War One in France or somewhere in the Ardennes, and there's a picture of Bruce Willis there, and she's like, "Holy fuck!" Because that's right, Bruce Willis. He comes back in time. And he's like, doesn't know where he is. And like people just find him on the road and he's like still trying to get his senses and they think he's a mental patient. So they send him to a mental home and Brad Pitt's there. And Brad Pitt's like, he's got a wealthy father, but he's a bit of a psycho. So that was Brad Pitt. Like, hey, you don't want to know about germs? Like Brad Pitt's a wacko. And so Bruce Willis is trying to do his mission of going back in time and stopping whoever like caused this weapon that killed people. He thinks it was related to monkeys. And what he does, he ends up getting stuck in a fucking mental hospital, ends up creating a relationship with I think it was like the nurse or the psychologist. And she's like, hey, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you're from the past. And then she goes to a book and finds all this shit.
and
So
then
Bruce
proves
Willis
it to
gets
herself.
out and then he has to like, and then there's all this like shit. And then he gets back and then he goes forward and back again and he's fried. And yeah, but Brad Pitt, one of the best performances I've ever seen is Brad Pitt in that film.
Really? So can I ask you, in the past, so germs I didn't know it was only the 1800s. Like, that is so recent, germs being discovered.
We had to learn, man.
I don't even know, when was money invented? Is that a thing?
Currency.
I think it was, currency. I think it was like gold, right? You first had gold and then you traded. Oh, how about we make this rare material, this gold, we trade this for my goods and then I can go and use that.
That would have been only a specific country, right? Like, I'm sure countries were still using materials and produce.
Because it's just the middleman. Money is just the middleman, so that you're like, well, you've got eggs, but I don't need eggs. But you want my product, but I don't need your product. What are we going to do here? And he's like, well, I need your product, but I also need his product. And you don't need my product, but don't you need his product? Oh my God, how about I give you this rock and call
With some
it
carvings
it's
on it.
worth 12 eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. It would have been like that.
Let
like,
me give you this special shiny metal.
Yeah, it's fucking
that's
like
worth
ivory.
12 eggs. I wonder what the first currency valuer was.
Yeah. Was it bone? Was it fucking paper? Like, what was it, you know?
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to Google, but I think it might take too long to find.
That's an interesting topic. Do you know what's interesting? I just remembered this. Or did you have something to say?
No, keep going, but I do want to come back to...
I think I wanted to mention this in some other podcast, but I forgot, but I just remembered. So here's a nice little topic for us.
Here we go.
So when I was working for this pharmaceutical company in Brisbane, I was working with this guy called Keith in the warehouse area. Keith Erickson, ERIKSON.
Spell it out. Everyone, look him up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's either CKSON or ERIKSON. Yeah, Erickson. So like obviously Scandinavian,
Yeah.
right? Keith was a lovely gentleman. Like, dude, honestly, I love Keith. Like, he was like one of the
We love Keith.
best human beings I've ever met in my life. He was just like, I was like a young hothead dude studying acting, and like, if I was annoyed at work or I had all these issues, he was like, you know, no. He was just really chill. Like, he'd been through it all in his life, so he was just super wise and
Very rational.
just an absolute gentleman, you know. And he'd listen to the music I played. I listened to the music he's played. So we're just great friends. And we used to always talk a lot. And he had so many stories. The guy's from New Zealand, South Island. He's got a Russian wife, traveled to Russia, met her, like had dinner with fucking KGB members, which apparently it's not
Wow.
called the KGB. They pronounce it KGB.
Oh,
Yeah, so his wife's from Rostov. He's got a Russia, and like he's been like skydiving, and he was like, when I'm talking to him, he's like, oh yeah, I'm getting my scuba diver's license, and I've been like 12 times, and I've got my skydiving license. I've done it so many times. He's just lived his life. He's
Yeah.
been everywhere. He's
Yeah.
so cool. Keith, if you ever listen to this, I love you so much. And anyways, he was just so loving, and his wife would give me food, and like I just like, you know, I helped him move one time, and I was just like, this is the best thing I could do for this guy, is like spend my fucking Saturday helping him move, like driving in a truck for ages. Like, I just love the guy.
yeah.
I'm talking a lot, but like I need to paint how cool this fucking guy is, right? So we've established Keith is cool. He was telling me a
So
story.
we've introduced him. We've done the character introduction.
Yeah.
Next.
So obviously he said at one point he was working for a, I think it was a radio station or something like that. No, he was working for a news company, like a Sunday Mail kind of company in New Zealand at some point. I think when he was younger, maybe 80s or 90s. And he said he used to work with another woman who had a Scandinavian name as well. And I think it was either Keith or her did like a ancestry.com thing and traced his lineage back, and he traced back to like a Dutch, you know, Vikings, all that shit, and then like a Dutch fucking boat that arrived obviously in New Zealand, and then there was only a handful of people of like of the same people, like Scandinavian people, who were like on the same voyage to live in New Zealand and settle life in New Zealand, got off, and the only other person who was with his ancestor was the fucking person he worked with. So
What?
the woman he worked with, the woman who had, so he was obviously Keith Erickson. She had a name like Krugen or something, a very, very Scandinavian name. And Keith's ancestor and her ancestor got off the boat on the same time in New Zealand together.
Oh, you're
It's
kidding.
we're talking obviously like 17 or 1800s, but like, isn't that remarkable?
That's so wild though, because like all those records would be kept somewhere, somehow. Most.
Yeah.
But like even just the portrayal of I'm going to take it back to a movie, but only quickly, and then we'll go back.
Sure.
The portrayal of the ancestry, even just in like Back to the Future, when he goes back to the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's all tied in. He's like his uncle and this and that. And I'm we know so little about where we come from. Like, you probably know your grandparents, maybe a slight little bit of your great grandparents, and that's it.
Yeah.
You probably haven't heard their stories,
Yeah.
what they did, nothing. It's pretty wild.
I always like to, I mean, this is such a guy thing, but like I always like to think that at some point in time I had like knights or like brutal Viking barbarian style people. Like it'd be nice to know I had like a warrior in the family who fought for like Jerusalem or like fucking, you know, but
Yeah.
my
Whereas
mother's,
now we're just soft.
yeah, with soft cocks, eh?
So soft.
My dad's German side, so you know maybe we've got some German
Maybe
knights.
ancestry.
Yeah.
So,
But one cool thing is that I know that on my mother's side, we're related to the William the Conqueror's cupbearer. So William the Conqueror was a Frenchman. He came over and he was from what's that place in France? Fucking Normandy. Normans. That's what they call the Normans. The Normans went over to England and conquered the Saxons. And then William the Conqueror was the first French king who ruled England. And then, you know, he obviously had Henry and all these other sons. But like the cupbearer isn't just a fucking pushover job. Like it's like a fucking serious, like you're the king's right-hand man, basically. Like you're testing to make sure there's no poison. I'm pretty sure he was a knight too.
So you're basically sacrificing yourself though to test the poison.
Yeah.
So you're glorified.
I've got at least one knight in the family. So when I found that out, I was like, Krieg, fuck yeah. Unsere Fahne.
Can I just ask you?
Yeah.
If you had to go backwards in time, what era would you go to, and what would you be doing to survive?
Okay, well,
Let's say not even like, oh, which era did you want to live in, as in I was born in this era. Your skills and brain now, what era could you go back to and try and live?
well, I'd like to go back at some point in time where my ancestors were, English speaking, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think I'd be far too intrigued with either ancient Egypt, Greece, or Rome.
Yeah.
I would like to go back in time to like ancient Greece and like watch where theater came from, you know.
Oh,
and, like,
yes, how that evolved.
and like go to Sparta and like have a translator with me, and like all the Spartans there are like looking at me like, who is this fucking outsider? And then like the translator's like, he's a merchant, he's a trainer. And like I'd love to fucking train to fight for like 5 years, like really well. Like, I know, like I do boxing, but I'd love to do like combat and like MMA, and then I'd love to go back to ancient Sparta and like have a translator be like, he's an outsider.
Because I'm talking about we're sending you back there to live, so you'll have a bit of time to learn the language.
Okay,
and then,
old ancient fucking Greek.
Yeah.
Well, this is just Greece in general. I'd go back and like I obviously want to see like Athens and democracy and shit, but I'd love to see I'd love to go back in time and like challenge Spartans to fight and just see how amazing they were. Like I'd love to do the wrestling and like the fist fighting and just see how good they were at MMA. So that's Greece, right?
Yeah,
Ancient Egypt. So here's the thing. So I'd love to go back into Rome time with everything I have now, and like be able to forge like a ukulele or guitar, and I'd stand in the center of Rome. And to the trees, to the mountains, the emperor rides. Like,
could you imagine singing something modern with a ukulele?
They'd be like, people would lose it. They would, and then eventually it'd catch wind.
Melody.
It'd catch wind. The emperor would call me to his private palace and be like, perform for us.
Unless
next thing, I'm a part of the fucking inner circle, right? And then I can see all the comings and goings. So that's Greece and Rome.
Wait. That's like you're. What if they thought it was like heavy screamo metal, hellish music when you're singing these tunes? Well, I guess
I'd be chased out of Rome, you know, and I'd have to go elsewhere and then like rethink my plan, come back with a disguise and try a different song.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, and so the last one would be ancient Rome, right? I'd want to go to ancient Rome and just look around. I wouldn't want to live. I'd live.
Egypt or Rome?
Sorry, Egypt.
Egypt, yeah.
So
I was going to say I would love to go back to the time where they built those freaking pyramids.
Yeah, so this is the thing, yeah. Because I have a feeling, dude. Like I have a feeling the ancient Egyptians were on something that we weren't. Like they had technologies that we weren't using. So all I would do is just live there so I didn't describe what I would do in Greece and Rome as a work. I would just work and do whatever the fuck I could, try to like be a celebrity. But
you're singing on the street. Yeah.
Legit. But in ancient Egypt, as long as I had fresh water, fresh vegetables and meat, I'd be comfortable to live back then because obviously they didn't have as good diets. So I'd always be drinking fresh water, veggies and poultry, but I'd just be there to observe. Like I wouldn't give two shits about what I do in Egypt. I would just observe.
Imagine how much of a germaphobe you would become coming from this clean time. There was no sewage. There wasn't sewage back then. What are you finding me? Wait, Egypt, dude. So,
dude, I'm a huge germaphobe. In this day and age, I am a fucking germaphobe. So I tell you what,
imagine
I would be dude. This
the
is
smell
why I
of
didn't
shit
say
everywhere.
This is why I didn't say like obviously being in the higher upper echelons of Rome, you'd be away from the fucking sewage filth, the plebs. And in ancient Greece, because it's Sparta, especially in Athens, it's very opened up, so you'd have room to move around. Egypt as well, but if I said fucking medieval times or something, just the filth, way.
Death and shit, and but like Egypt, man. So on that pyramid building, right? They were on some other shit you were saying.
For real.
So that.
Do you want to hear what an ancient Egyptian sounded like?
Yeah, please. Was this their music?
That's nuts. How fucking scary does that sound, dude? So, sorry, please continue. So, Egyptians, dude, we know for a fact that slaves didn't create the pyramids. I mean, I'm not dissing the Jordan, but, you know.
Here's the thing, though. We built that stuff. We had the technology. And I think I'm quoting again of something that Elon said, because I've watched too much Elon Musk lately, but like they had that technology and they knew how to do it, and then people did it less. It was too hard. They did it less and less, and then we forgot. We forgot how to do that thing, and that's Elon's whole thing. We went to the moon, and then we stopped funding it, and NASA stopped doing that stuff. We stopped flying to space. You forget how to do this high technology stuff that you've done before.
Whoa. So you're saying you think the original moon landing was legit?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think it's real?
Yeah.
Wow.
They went 7 times, dude. That's the problem.
So you're saying there was no records of any of the previous data about creating rocket ships? They were just like, nah, this is it. We're done.
You mean because they did it on such a whim without any testing?
No. Like, let's pick up trying to recreate rocket ships in the next 30 years and around the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Every fucking rocket. I remember there was a horrible rocket ship that went up with that crew and it exploded in midair. Like
the shuttle, yeah.
Yeah, the shuttle, yeah. So how did they go from? So you're saying they were so good and then they stopped, so they couldn't progress, and then
no, they weren't so good, but they achieved something with old school technology. They did something, they achieved something, and then they went, oh, we've done that now, and they stopped funding it. So even if I don't know if we should get into the debate about the moon landing being real, but even if it's not, we still had stuff that took us to space. We put the ISS, International Space Station. The only people that were transporting people to and from that space station after NASA stopped doing space was Russia.
Yeah.
So the only way the American astronauts got up there is via Russia's rockets.
Why didn't Russia ever land on the moon, though?
No idea. And apparently it was a race. It was like a race by the nations.
And this is the thing. That's another like conspiracy theory thing where it's just like they never made it. They just wanted to prove that they made it up there. But here's the thing. Here's my question. I'm sure there's a million answers on the internet, but I've never actually looked it up. Why was the flag waving in space?
So the flag wasn't waving. So that's just like a cherry-picked piece of footage that people like to point at, because the moon's surface is very, like, it's got soft sand, sort of gravel, and then after that it's very hard rock. So apparently if you see the full footage of them trying to put this flag in, they were struggling to put it in, and they're bashing it into the ground so that it would just hold up. And all it's doing is waving from the movement of the pole, and then eventually it just stops.
Right,
Because there
okay.
is no wind, obviously.
How long did it take for them to get from Earth's orbit to the moon?
I think it's a couple months.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
But that, like, to me, if I hear that, my logical brain goes, oh, well, how could that spacecraft fly for a couple of months? But you don't need any power
just
in space.
propulsion, and then you're done.
And all it is corrections by millimeter at a time. If you start going off course, you correct by one little of
Yeah.
the side rockets. You don't need
Yeah.
any fuel. You're just floating at a constant velocity because there is no friction.
Yeah, so and that's the thing we mentioned in a previous podcast about like tiny little microscopic stones that are just flying through space at like a gazillion miles an hour. Like that's another reason why that Star Wars film was so stupid when like it was like one of the newer films. I think it was like number 7 or whichever recent one that came out, and it was like they were trying to run away from this like big ship that was attacking them, and soon they were going to run out of fuel, and it was like legit.
Yeah.
As long as you're burning at a certain rate, if you turn the fucking engines off, you're still going to be moving at that
Traveling at
momentum.
that exact same rate.
Yeah, right. So you know what? That makes a lot of sense if they were able to make it to the moon.
Yeah.
But like, it's just so upsetting that we haven't made it
Again.
again.
That's the thing. So if it was a race, I'm pretty sure it was like maybe not official, but like Russia's trying to do it. We're trying to do it. Who's going to make it? So if you're Russia, right, you're spending billions of dollars building this rocket, and then all of a sudden the US is like, hey, check it out. We've done it. They go to the moon. You go, well, they've done it. Like, why are we spending? Are we going to pour these rest of these billions in here? Or should we just make our rockets usable and then do it for this other technology, and
can
we'll
be
take them up to the
hanging
space
out
station?
in orbit. Yeah.
We go to orbit, we come back. So that's why all the funding stopped, because the US made it. Yeah, you guys did it. Well done. Whether it was faked or not, that can be debated. But my whole thing is they went up 7 times. And if you lived at those times, it would have been a big deal. You're watching the rocket take off. You're watching it land. Like, it's not like it was just no one knew about it. And then they went, oh, here's some footage. So there was a big show around it in real life. Now looking back, we can say, oh, look at this footage. It's so fake. But there would have been lots of things happening in the real world where people were watching with their own eyes, sort of thing.
So I have a question, and that's interesting. When you say 7 times, do you mean they went to the moon 7 times?
Yeah.
They went to the moon 7 times.
Yeah,
But
that's my whole thing.
that Buzz and Lance Armstrong were there
We're the
first.
first. That's why everyone knows their name. Nobody else knows the others' names.
What? So, first I want to ask, and then we'll get back to all the other flights, the 6 other flights. But didn't Buzz Aldrin or one of those guys or Lance Armstrong, right? Didn't they didn't both of them become like alcoholics or something, or like just really fucking like?
Probably.
Yeah, like
It probably would. I mean, that can have a lot of reasons. You can be in NASA.
living that glory.
You've made it to the moon. You're glorious. NASA gets defunded. You're retired, and you've had your time in the limelight.
You've done
There's
what
a
no other
lot of
man's
things that can cause you spiraling into alcoholism, especially when
true.
it's so easily accessible.
Yeah.
Like, imagine drinking 1 liter of beer every week.
Yeah,
you
you'd be
would spiral
fucked.
into alcoholism.
Guilty.
Oh, scheiß.
So all the other 6 flights, were they, because what was the first flight, 1969 or something?
69. So I'm pretty sure it was 7 times, but we can look it up. But I believe most of the footage that you see now, if you look up Man on the Moon, is not from the first flight. The first flight footage was very bad. Like, it was that really grainy, it's one big step for mankind, and jumps down. Really grainy, terrible lighting, everything terrible, being beamed back to the Australian satellite that received it and broadcast it all. There's a movie called The Dish. Have you seen that?
The Aussies, yeah.
Yeah, it's about the Aussies actually picking up the broadcast because of the timing. They were going to be on the side where the moon was.
Yeah, we were the guys.
We
yeah.
were the guys.
We saved the day.
That's what I mean. And so many countries involved. How do they make a fakery that big? For
Yeah.
starters,
That's true.
could be done, but then all the real life stuff that people are witnessing and
Yeah.
speaking to people, like, it's a massive, massive fake if it was.
Well, you know, Stanley Kubrick was directing it. And
Yeah.
we all know about Stanley. You know about Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
All right, we're getting into the dark stratosphere now, so bear with me. I've read.
Will it be far too?
Nine. It
deep?
should be all right. So Stanley Kubrick decided to make a movie called Stanley Kubrick's a famous director. He's brilliant.
Yeah. Are we getting the long version, or should we have the quick version?
I'll give you the short version.
Yeah, cool.
Stanley Kubrick decided to direct a film based on secret Illuminati kind of organizations in America. And he cast Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. And this is where Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman met. I think they like juiced each other up on this set. Or I think they were together before this and then they maybe got cast together. Anyways, the story goes that Stanley Kubrick was receiving death messages, like very severe threats from like random dudes, like secret kind of like FBI, CIA kind of like business suits, like don't do what you're like. So Stanley Kubrick
didn't see anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He put the word out that he wanted to make this film, and they were like, he was having random people. This is how the story goes. He had random people coming up to him being like, do not make this film. Do not do what you're doing. We've read it. Do not do it. And he's like, fuck you. And then he makes the film, and then I think it was like, and again, I'm totally wrong.
Yeah.
This is just what I can remember. Maybe a couple of months or something like that before the film was even made, or like not made, but like released, or maybe a couple of months after it was released. I can't recall the time period, but I mean, he wasn't like a fit fucking like a Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but he was healthy, and like so the report goes, like his family members like he was healthy, he was happy, you know. Fucking just died. He just randomly, mysteriously died.
Mysteriously is a word.
Yeah, and I think it was something like heart failure or something. But they were like, no, he was healthy, he was fit, didn't take drugs, didn't drink that much. Blah, blah, blah.
What a mystery.
So we're thinking, and the film was intense, dude. You haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut, but like it's fucking like,
yeah, right.
You see scenes where like Tom Cruise meets this random dude at a bar, right? He's like an old high school or college friend, and he's like, dude, you still play piano? And Tom Cruise's mate's like, yeah, I play piano. You know what? He's like, I got this fucking gig at the moment, right? They pay me like this much. I don't know who it is, but they blindfold me and I have to go to this like place. And I know it's a big place because da-da-da-da. And like I have to play this music for them.
While still blindfolded?
While still blindfolded, and it's like really intense.
Oh,
and he's like, but all I know is it's like a masquerade place, and it's at this address. So he gives Tom Cruise this address, and Tom Cruise thinks it's just going to be some like fancy fucking cocktail party with hot women, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to this like local costume shop, buys like the long draping thing and like the mask, like a masquerade, like a mask, right? Catches a cab to this address. It's like in the middle of the sticks. It's like this big fucking mansion, beautiful. Gets out of the car, there's like security guard, and the guy gives him a fucking like password. He's like, try this password, man, you get in. He's like, thanks, bro. He goes there, he's like, Fidelio. That's the fucking password, Fidelio. And the guy at the security guard like doesn't know anybody. He's like, come in. Opens the door, goes in, and like these beautiful like models, like beautiful like 6'2" model women. They're all in like skimpy fucking like Marilyn Monroe like lingerie, and like half of them are naked, like they may have a bra on, but like their pussy's showing or vice versa. And they're wearing like masks as well. And they like escort you around, and it's like really quiet, and like they don't say anything. They're just like very gracious. Tom Cruise walks around, and there's like fucking like 100 or 80 or 100 people in this place, and they're all wearing masks. This giant mansion, all wearing thingos. Some of them are just watching while other members in masks fuck these model chicks, just randomly. And
that's all it is? Or is there like a
he's
big...
walking around, they're all drinking and just standing there. You don't see their faces. They're all just standing there very like, you know, the richest, powerfulest people in the world. They're just like fixated on the hedonism of it. And Tom Cruise is just walking around like, what the fuck? Trying to act normal. And then he goes into this other room, and it's like this weird, he sees his friend blindfolded playing the piano.
Oh yeah.
Doom, doom. They're playing these like weird beats, and like all these people are like crowded around. There's one dude sitting in this throne, and he's got this like fucking like, I think he's got like a staff or something. He's like doom, doom, bangs it, and it's like really fucking creepy music. And the women are like moving around him, And then at the end of it, he's doing this thing, and like Tom Cruise is looking around, and then he looks up and he makes eye contact with these other people in masks looking at him, and they nod at him, and he's just like, okay, he nods back.
So
And then after that, they like he's just doing his thing, and then they come up to him, like all the people in the room are looking at him, and he's like, oh fuck, and they're like, take off your mask.
oh god,
And he's like, and they're like, do it. And like, these are like probably like president,
yeah.
everyone, every rich billionaire, because like sacrifice virgin rich, like crazy.
So this is like the ultimate conspiracy anonymous.
yeah, takes
know
off
that
his
stuff-
mask, and then they like threaten him. And so the rest of the
Yeah.
movies after that, yeah.
You know that still goes on, right? If people write movies that big drug lords and gangsters don't like,
For sure.
that still goes on. They call the producers and they go, "You're not releasing this movie,"
Yeah.
basically.
So this is the scene I'm telling you about.
Yeah, it's creepy.
You got to watch it.
Anyway,
Hold on.
wait.
That's his mate playing the piano.
Also, they're like full face masks. Yeah,
Totally. How
that
creepy is this?
everyone's just fully hidden. Yeah,
And the
that's-
women are
that's
like
fucked up.
doing some weird ritual.
I'll have to watch it one time.
Please, come forward.
Yeah.
Everyone looking at him, dude. He's like,
So-
lamb.
So that still goes on. Movies don't get released, or scripts don't go, or people don't act in certain scripts because they've had ties to bad pasts and stuff, and they get threatened. But we digressed hard. So that is all conspiracy because we used to go to space and then someone won the race. We stopped doing it. We forget how to do it well. So the point really trying to make is like, if you don't do something and develop something and evolve in something, you can go backwards. Like we can just go backwards in what we know. Like who knows? We probably used to be way smarter with spiritual
Ancient
and-
Egyptian times.
and healing and like the old Chinese or herbal stuff that they all knew about, and it just dies with the generations because the younger people don't care, or they're like, yeah, that's all psh, whatever. Where's the science? You know, they can't prove it with a microscope yet, so they don't believe it because you can't physically see it with any means that we know as of yet. So we can go backwards with things.
Is this true? I'm not going to argue with that. It's true.
But still,
real.
medieval times, going back there,
I remember
living your best life.
I remember reading. It was like I think when Jeffrey Epstein was still doing his thing in Hollywood.
yeah.
Not Jeffrey Epstein. Fucking Harvey Weinstein. Sorry.
Mm.
I remember when Harvey Weinstein was. I think I read something somewhere when Brad Pitt was dating Gwyneth Paltrow. She did a project or something like that with Harvey Weinstein. He like touched her on the ass or did something weird like that. And Brad Pitt confronted Harvey Weinstein at a party and was like real cool, like real cash, but like real like threatening. He was
Stern.
like, don't you ever fucking touch her again or I will fucking kill you.
Wow,
Like just
Brad Pitt did that.
Brad Pitt's a legend, dude. I love that
Nice.
cunt. Staunched him, right? And then a lot of people, Brad Pitt's a great actor. He's not award winning,
Yeah.
but he's definitely gotten better. And like I said, that Ad Astra film, I would have given a fucking award for that, dude. That film's
Nice.
great. But like I'm pretty sure people were saying like since then, like this is why you've never seen Brad Pitt win an award or be in
Of
award
course.
shows and shit because he fucked
I mean,
over
he's
the.
not that good of an actor, but yeah,
But still, yeah,
probably not invited,
yeah.
whatever.
But I mean, after Harvey
all-
Weinstein
it's all
fucked
to
off,
do.
you got best
Yeah.
supporting actress with Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So
Yeah, it's just all about who you piss off and what power they have.
exactly, it's bullshit, eh?
Yeah, can I tell you something funny though? Back
So-
to
Yeah.
emperors and
Let's move on from that now. Yeah, in prison.
no, back to emperors.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
back to emperors.
Kaiser.
I'm not going back to the times, but
No. Hold on. I want to hear about what you would do. Where would you choose of like anywhere? It doesn't have to be the three I chose.
Yeah.
But like, and how would you live?
see, I would love to do it as an exploration, but I have no desire to go back to that sort of primitive. But maybe
Yeah.
if I really wanted to explore exactly what I was saying, things that we may have forgotten about, the spiritual side, the herbal side. Maybe I could go way back to when they maybe understood a bit more or used feeling more, and I don't know, something like that.
Totally.
But to me, it would be also really interesting to go like not too far back, like so 1700s, where everything was just crazy.
Would you
and
go
just
to Germany or like somewhere in Europe or
who
America
knows,
or what?
like you'd have to really commit somewhere because
Yeah.
you can't travel. You'd be on a boat for months.
And how
maybe
long
a
are we
year.
staying here? Like, are we having to fucking like shovel shit all day? And
yeah, I
like
don't
fucking, like, I don't want to fucking, I'm not going to agree to this if I have to fucking pick fucking like horse shit up every day.
I'll tell you something though about emperors.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've told you this before. Do you know when the time that I felt like a Roman emperor?
No.
It was when I was on shrooms
Oh,
in
okay.
Amsterdam.
Oh, so whoa, you've been to Amsterdam?
I've been twice, 3 times.
Oh, right, because dude, you've been to Amsterdam. Is it awesome? Is the red light district cool?
Man, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean,
Like, I wouldn't stand there and be like, ugh, but like, is it like, whoa?
you walk. It's very strange because you walk through and they're just right there.
Are they really
And they're trying to
beautiful?
get you in. Yeah, some of them are really beautiful and young, and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's strange.
Hold on,
strange
hold on.
underground shit.
I need to ask you some stuff. You went to Amsterdam. Like, was it
Dude.
fucking awesome? Was it just like, was your hotel cool? Was it like walking to the places where you can get high cool? Like, what did you,
yeah.
what did you do?
It's very old, and when you say cool, you mean like having to carry your suitcase up a really narrow, extremely steep staircase because none of the buildings have elevators.
Right.
So they're like, oh, it's on the 3rd floor, but there's no elevator, and we're like, yeah, cool.
For like a hotel, like a fucking 14 story
so
as
it's
well.
a hotel, this was a hotel where we got there, and they were like, oh, you're just down here, and we sort of went half underground, and our window like looked up onto street level, and as we got in there, it just smelled dank and like moist and yuck, and we were
Yeah.
like, no. And I walked up and I was like, hey, the room stinks, like we're not staying there. They were like, oh,
Who are you with?
on the keyboard, Anna.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we
So Anna's been how many times with you?
once, so we went to Europe 2019,
Yeah.
and we boom.
Sorry, I hit my mic. That was great.
That was
Dude, that was a
cool.
fucking, yeah.
But I think it's the springs. If you touch them, they'll stop. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we were like, we're not staying here. So they were like, oh, we can put you in a room that's on level 3, but you have to walk upstairs. We're like, that's fine. Walked up the stairs. The room was like twice the size, and it was epic. But
You stayed?
yeah, we stayed there.
Wasn't dank?
No, it was great up there. 3rd floor, fantastic.
Sick.
So I bought from the weed shop. You walk into these shops and they sell weed, all different kinds, and they
Are
sell.
there like cafes where you can sit in there and chat with people and
yeah,
get
yeah.
fucked?
There's cafe style, and then
Dude.
there was like drugstore style where they sell like bongs and everything as well. So all the stuff that goes with
Could
it.
you have brought a bong home with you?
You probably can. Like
Hmm.
you put it in your luggage and just it's a water pourer. Everyone knows what it is. Just
Yeah. So was it
prove
only,
that I'm using it. Yeah.
yeah, was it only weed and edibles, or did they have like shrooms and other fucking
Everything.
psychedelics?
That's it. Shrooms. So the shrooms, you buy them in boxes, and they come with a flyer that tells you what shroom does what and what you're going to experience
So
and
you
what
did
to
some over
expect
there?
and the strength. Yeah, I did some over there. I've done them a couple of times, 2 times that I went.
Is it like just dried, or is it like a tea form?
Extremely dried and sour, chewy, disgusting. Like
So what are you eating like 3?
Oh.
Are you eating like 5 or 10, and then you're feeling it, or like how many?
you
are
eat
eating?
like it's a box, right? Which is just a dose in like a shrink wrap sort of thing. And you put it in a box out of the wrap, and then they say like, oh, if you've never done it or if you're a newbie, have half the box maybe of a not so strong one. And because I'd done it before, I just fucking did the whole box. And I'm just
by
laying,
yourself?
Yeah, no, my brother was with me, so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
met up with us there. And I had this whole box, and we're just on the bed. I'm looking at my phone and listening to music with my headphones on, and I'm looking at the ceiling, and it's just scales and dragons, and I'm like, this is sick. But reason I mentioned Emperor, I'm laying there and I'm listening to music, and every time there's a build up in the music, I would get this rush of power go through me, and like the way the sun was coming into our window, we had red curtains in this hotel room. The way the sun was coming into the window, it was like I was laying in this bed with like like a huge crowd and like these lights coming through my palace, being an emperor. Like it
Holy
was just
shit,
I was
dude,
like,
that's so
I'm
good.
so powerful.
Worship me.
And then straight
I
after
love
that, it just went really sour. Like I had a really bad trip.
Yeah.
Because Anna went out and got to get some food, and one of her friends was staying there. And she was like, oh, my friend hasn't replied, so I'll probably just go and get some Mexican from down the road, this and this place, and then I'll just come back. And so she went, and then it had been a while, and I was like, oh, shit, maybe I'll text her. And I messaged her on Facebook, and it didn't deliver. So she'd gone on airplane mode, and I was like, oh, God. And then you start worrying while you're super baked.
She's going to die on the plane.
On psychedelics, and you're like, I can't think straight right now. What's going on?
Oh, wow.
And I had this
So
really
caring.
bad spiral.
Yeah.
And turns out her friend had just replied as she was going to the Mexicans. So she went to this place with her friend to get some drinks and turned her phone on flight mode so that it would save battery. I'm like, sick. How could you leave me here tripping balls?
Dude, I remember I took shrooms just before I moved to the NT, and it was just like a really fucked time because it was just like, I don't have a job going to the NT. I want to go to Sydney for acting, but COVID's bad. And I remember I took shrooms like 2 times, and the first time was real late at night, and we were just sitting by a campfire, and it was just like real nice. I was chatting with my ex, and then the second time we did it, it was like daytime, and like it was just like, I was way too cooked. Like I was just like, I'm not enjoying this. And I had a spiral. Yeah.
Really bad.
You got to be in that happy mood, you know?
Because you can't get out. Like, you're in it.
You just,
And
you
you're
just
in
got
it.
to push through.
You got to ride the wave.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're going to cut it.
Yeah.
It's been quite a chill one.
It's been a chill one.
We
for
had,
sure.
I mean, we did polish off the leader before we even started recording, and
yeah, it's a
topped
whiskey.
up with a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is quite a dank one.
Keep it dank, everybody. Stay up.